Let's return in. Oh, yeah, we're Gary to me. I don't think you can. It's like, yeah, I'm not sure. We're gonna take a dab though. We're gonna dab it out. True. Oh, shit. Take this other dab here. It's Candy Crush. Tastes delicious. station. Shit. They get you every time. Every time they get you. Oh shit. Get you every time. Every single time. Oh shit. No. Oh man. See what the hell they got in the news this morning. Brazil. 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 So Brazil shit. You know, son. With the kidney. Anything. Need. My ex made me feel like I would never change. Ain't shit in there. Motherfucker gone, basically. That's basically gone. But I ain't tripping. That's all it is.
a caller that they thought your band was suspicious. What's suspicious about the band? I don't know. I am the bird truther, person who doesn't believe in birds, and is part of it. All road is completely impassable. Water vehicles currently. Yeah. Yeah, we want to try it. We're gonna go around also. Okay, yeah, we got the task force. Yeah, it's fine. It's good. Off the live okay. I'll be over. Okay. In the parts of California known for raging wildfires, this is not something most people were prepared for. There's reported to be a tree down across the roadway blocking residents. If we can help them out, that's great. But I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to put anybody in harm's way. No, I mean, honestly, a month ago, we were fighting fires. We were fighting vegetation. Just a month ago, we were fighting vegetation fires in our fire district, and then all of a sudden the transition to, from wildland season right into a flood event, it was definitely a nightmare. You go up the driveway, to the house, to the left, to the fire. Rain started at the end of December and just kept going. Some places had almost as much rain in 3 weeks than would normally fall in a year, leading to some of the worst flooding in California in decades. 90% of the state's population was placed under flood watch. At least 21 people have died in the last month, more than the last 2 wildfire seasons combined. So everyone's been evacuated from the state. Yeah, they've been asked to evacuate. I don't know if everybody's evacuated, they've been asked to evacuate. So even a mandatory evacuation doesn't necessarily mean they will leave. We door knocked every residence and warned everybody that they need to leave. So physically, that order's still in place just because, river currently, the conditions are changing so rapidly. Here you can see the Pajaro River is flooded, and we've been watching it really closely because the potential for it to crest the levees is there and possibly impose a threat to the township. What it comes down to is if they don't leave and we do get flooding, it's going to put us right into rescue mode. When is the last time that you saw a normal weather pattern in this area? Well, it's probably been quite some time. Just guessing, I'd say anywhere from probably 5 to 7 years ago. It's just, it's something that I hope is not the new norm. All of this rain comes from what's called an atmospheric river, which is what it sounds like. A long river in the sky that carries massive amounts of water vapor from one place to another. They can carry up to 15 times the volume of the Mississippi River. And scientists predict that climate change will only make them more intense and more dangerous. What we've seen this winter in California has not been extreme like hurricane. It felt like Noah's flood kind of things, 40 days and 40 nights. Like biblical. Almost biblical, yeah. Just storm on top of storm on top of storm. And some of the biggest dangers during the flood year are in the areas that burned the year before. How does that happen? So after a big wildfire, the slopes are scorched. They don't allow the rainwater to seep into the ground. There's no strength holding the slopes together. So there is the danger of them failing and in some cases entering communities. So these historic droughts, which lead to historic wildfire seasons, make historic floods even worse. They make some of the damages from the floods even worse. Every flood disaster is a past planning error. I worry about the impact of climate change. I also worry about people continuing to develop into these high hazard zones. Some of the worst hit areas were agricultural communities like Merced in California's Central Valley. Just a month before the storms began, the state put out a report that outlines a bleak future of mega floods in the area. It said 50 years from now, this region will experience floods up to 5 times worse than anything ever seen here. Thank you guys. Thanks again. We're making unprecedented commitments to address the challenges that we've had with this region, with the world that we designed for a world that no longer exists, meaning an infrastructure that was designed 40, 50 years ago on the basis, again, of normalcy. That by definition is part of our past, not our present. California has, for the most part, accepted its fate of extreme weather and is investing in infrastructure to adapt. Last year, Governor Newsom approved a record $54 billion in climate change spending over the next 5 years. But now the state faces a deficit, so the plan is being scaled back. You've talked repeatedly about the connection between these extreme weather events and the climate crisis. Why did you just propose to cut $6 billion in spending on climate initiatives? Well, $48 billion climate package. There's not a subnational government on planet Earth that's ever done anything like this. We are facing a $22.5 billion deficit, and I'm trying to protect all of you out here. Your education, your child care, preschool programs, and everything else. At the same time, we're leveraging billions more that go well in excess of $54 billion from the Fed. So there's your response. So this is all the stuff that was in your house?
Yes, all of this was in my house, and it all got water in it. So we had to pull it all out. My living room couches and my tables, coffee tables, and just everything in the living room was destroyed. Everything, my whole house was destroyed. As long as it was wood, it was destroyed.
10 minutes from where the governor spoke is Marissa Mancha's house, which flooded on January 10th when nearby Bear Creek overflowed.
When I came in the house, I shut the door, and then I put a towel there. And right when I was going to jump in the towel there, water was pushing right through it already.
Wow.
It was pushing the
Just
towel.
came right.
Yeah, came up, that fast.
How high did the water get?
We're on down here.
Up to your knees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They told us that, we're going to probably have to evacuate because the rain was so severe. When I opened my door, it was all water. It looked like I was in the middle of the lake. It was just, you can see the street, it was just everything was water everywhere. It was just unbelievable. I can't even explain the feeling,
Have you ever seen a flood like this?
Not like this, no. I sit there and I watch TV and I see these other where there's floods and everything, and I feel for those people so bad. Now I know how they feel.
Are you worried about these extreme weather events becoming more frequent?
Yes. And now I know it's possible. It's possible for it to do that here. I haven't really been able to sleep because the images and the thoughts are still in my head, so. And I knew it was going to probably flood, but not like this.
I'm Michael Learmont, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.
That's that for sure. I don't know.
But with sanctions, it's always something that is best done coordinated with allies, because for sanctions to be effective, we have to do them together.
You have suggested that everything is on the table when it comes to defending Ukraine. UK stepped forward with tanks, longer range missiles. Do you draw the line at fighter jets, or is that still in the cards as far as you're concerned?
I think it's important right now that we accelerate and intensify our support to Ukraine. And the reason I say that is because they have an opportunity to have a decisive advantage on the battlefield if they're given the right support. And that's why we've led an effort to provide extra capabilities, heavy tanks, longer range fires, more air defense. And what we want to do is to ensure that Ukraine can win.
Your counterparts in Germany and France have suggested this is going to end up in a negotiation when all is said and done. Do you think that's where and how this ends?
Well, I think that ultimately those decisions are for Ukraine to make. Our job is to put them in the best possible position to make those decisions. We want to see Ukraine victorious.
Prime Minister Sunak making history as Britain's first Prime Minister of color. And he came into office at another moment of historic change, with the UK getting its first new monarch in over 70 years. What's your relationship like with King Charles?
I mean, I was his first appointed Prime Minister, actually. It's a very special moment in my life. And now I have the privilege of sitting down with him every week.
Good discussions?
Great discussions.
He's trying to modernize the monarchy. You're trying to bring more tech into the UK's economy. Are you kindred spirits on some level?
I think actually, King Charles is someone who issues that politicians and governments are grappling with have been issues that he's been talking about for a long time, particularly climate change, where he's been very passionate about that topic. He's someone who absolutely is someone who wants to represent everybody. As Prime Minister, it's a great privilege to champion all our British institutions, our culture, our history, our values around the world, but particularly the monarchy.
You can watch more of my interview with the Prime Minister tomorrow morning on Today. In 60 seconds, as spring break approaches, a new warning tonight about travel to parts of Mexico after the kidnapping of those 4 Americans. Back with a new caution about travel to parts of Mexico after the kidnapping of those 4 Americans and as spring break approaches. Sam Brock has more on the warnings tonight.
Why does a crush of spring breakers hit the beaches from Cabo to Cancun? An urgent warning from Texas state officials not to travel to Mexico due to the ongoing violence throughout the country.
That's why we urge anyone